if you were, trying to plan for, you're praying for buying a house, buying a property or so, and you probably got a call back from real estate. But again, it has not been, you have not signed the papers. The key has not been placed in your hands or anything. Baby, you do not need to be talking to everybody named mamas about your callback unless God releases you so. It was honestly such sweet music to me when people would tell me, oh, you didn't tell me that you were doing an event planning. You didn't tell me you were even going into that. You didn't say this. You didn't say that. You didn't tell me. Yeah, it was on purpose. Hey everyone. Hey. Welcome, and if you are, welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. This is Virtuously Me. This is my faith-based channel. And it is just basically my ups and my downs with Christ, in my walk with Christ, in hopes that you guys will find something relatable, or you guys will be able to, talk about things and whatnot. So, I wanted to come on here. Let's jump right into it because I wanted to speak about this for basically kind of like my experience with my event planning. And I found it just very imperative to just kind of remind Christians basically with this message. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's make a short video, as I always say. Let's make a short video. And let's remind Christians out here to not talk so much about everything that's going on in your life. Now, let me correct myself. When something happens in your life that you have been praying for and God has given you that becomes a testimony. It is not still in a fulfillment. It's not still being brewed up. It's not still being, prayed about. It has actually come to pass and has now become a testimony. And when you have a testimony, of course, share that with the world, because that gives other Christians who are probably praying either on the same thing that you have had, or are praying about something else. It kind of gives other Christians that encouragement that God is in the neighborhood, God is working, and is going to come through for you. What I mean as in, stop talking about things that you are praying for and are believing in while it's still in its fulfillment process. Now, unless God tells you otherwise and tells you to release that message, release that thing that you're praying about ahead of time, again, that is different. Do not mislead what I'm saying or misinterpret what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, as in, when you have things in works, learn to kind of shh. And it kind of reminds me of that clip, even though I don't listen to her music. But it reminds me of that clip when Kaya was like, girl, you talk too much. Homegirl, you never shut up. Maybe I will insert that video in here. We'll see.
Hush! You talk too much. Homegirl, you never shut up.
But it just reminds me of that because, and trust me, this comes from somebody who used to talk a lot too, just about things that were going on in her life and stuff, like her, as in me, in my life. And I've learned that, again, not everybody has the best interest in you. And I've learned that even before Christianity too. Even before truly learning about demonic spirits that people carry, all these things of that nature. Even in my worldly lifestyle, my backsliding, I still had that type of mentality. So much so that I end up getting this tattoo, and I'm sure you guys can kind of see it right there. So it's in Arabic, and it was inspired by somebody that I saw on Instagram, and it means to move in silence. And even in my backsliding days, that was something that was very, very much important to me. And now that I'm in my Christianity bag and I've learned just more and more about, certain spirits that people kind of carry behind them, I am very, very careful on who I trust my business with, especially when it's something that is very special to me and I've been praying on it and I'm trusting that God will come to pass with it. So I want to bring up the example of my event planning. Okay. It was honestly such sweet music to me when people would tell me, "Oh, you didn't tell me that you were doing an event planning. You didn't tell me you were even going into that. You didn't say this, you didn't say that. You didn't tell me." Yeah, it was on purpose. Like, not to be mean, but it was on purpose. I was very selective and purposeful with the right people, with the certain people that I had chosen to speak about my event planning business while it was in fruition, while it was being made up. And I was very purposeful and even not even telling, even those select people, I'd even tell the name of my business. I wanted to have people see the name of my business when it launched. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but one of the people did end up finding out anyway because she helped me at my photo shoot for the business. But I was very, very particular and very careful. When God gave me the name for my business, I was very careful to tell anybody. And that was just because, and not thinking that, not saying that those select people were going to put anything bad on my business name or anything like that, but it was just something that I wanted to keep between God and myself until I finally launched my baby out on July 8th. So it was such sweet music to me for people to say that to me. I'm like, yeah, like, I didn't really want, your thoughts and opinions or your energy on my baby while it was still growing, while it was still in fruition. I wanted you to, hear about it with the rest of the world. So when it came to making my event planning process, right, my business, and I never even thought of myself as an entrepreneur. I never even wanted that title. I was like, being an entrepreneur is crazy. Absolutely not. And, I've come to learn, especially this year, especially end of last year and into this year, I've come to stop saying that I don't want to do something. Because every time I say I don't want to do something, I end up doing it. I said I didn't want to be a YouTuber. God said, here you go. I said I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. God said, here you go. So I've learned to just stop saying I don't want to do certain things at this point. And I found it very just prophetic. I'm not going to share really like the vision that I had with just, with this whole business. But when I tell you guys, it was a beautiful, beautiful prophetic vision of just seeing how prophetic it would be to help other people in their special events. And it was truly amazing. And, one day if God releases me, I will share it for sure when it comes to pass. So we'll see. But I have to be released to do that. So in the process of me planning, only 5 people ended up finding out. I believe 6 because I also asked for help for my photo shoot, but mainly just 5 people really were there with me in the process of getting like this business up and running. And those 5 women were also all business people themselves. So I was very purposeful in even picking people who are entrepreneurs, are in their business, who were already very close to me, kind of basically already. And I had chose them. So they were there to kind of not only just pray over my business, pray with me, to encourage me when I wanted to give up already in the process. They also were there to give me advice as well, advice on just how to protect my business on how to market, advice on how to market, advice on what LLCs to buy or things of that nature to be able to profit off of my business. And I did end up speaking to another wedding planner as well, but it was mainly just 5 women, and majority of them were all women of God as well. So they were able to help me too with the spiritual aspect as well, and really just, again, emphasis on praying with me on it. So I was very purposeful in those 5 people. Never really spoke about my business with anybody else, and it was very on purpose, as I keep saying, because you just really want to be careful. Again, I really, really, really am so emphasis, like I put a lot of emphasis on just like, you just don't know the spirit that people carry. Some people will smile in your face and be happy for you, and then behind closed doors, behind your back, they may not want the best for you. So even though, like I always emphasize that my life is not rainbows and gumdrops, it's not perfect. Of course it is not. But some people will still see the outside of it. They don't know what's going on the inside, but they see the outside of it. And then they hear that I'm running a business too, and not be as happy for me. So I'm very careful. I was very careful on like who I want to tell this news to. Not saying that everybody I was going to tell has a bad spirit behind them, but it was just because it was something that was so personal between even God and myself. Like I didn't really want to share it just yet with so many people until the actual launch date. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't really want a lot of opinions, a lot of says on it. So I urge a lot of Christians to keep your mouth shut. There's another like TikTok famous sound, not to be cringy and bringing TikTok in here, but there's another sound that I even found where it was like, it said like, Shanice, your mouth goes into a lot of yappa, yappa, yappa. It needs to silence. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the same thing for here, where sometimes in our Christian walk, and this can go towards people on the outside too as well, but because it's a faith-based channel, this is mainly towards my Christians out there. And sometimes in your life, you really don't need to be talking too much about what God has planned for you or what you got going on until it comes to fruition, and then you can share it. So for people out there who are praying for a spouse, and you finally got the news that that somebody, a man or woman, is confirmed to be your kingdom spouse, maybe you don't need to be talking about that with every single body until things come to pass, or unless God releases you to do so. If you've been praying on a job and you finally got an interview, you finally got a heard back, but it has not been approved yet, you have not been confirmed to that job yet, but you just got a call back for an interview, maybe you do not need to be talking about that with everybody, okay? Unless God releases you to do so. Maybe if you were, trying to plan for, you're praying for buying a house, buying a property or so, and you probably got a call back from real estate, but again, you have not signed the papers, the key has not been placed in your hand or anything. Baby, you do not need to be talking to everybody named mamas about your callback unless God releases you so. The same thing goes for if you're applying for a new school. The same thing goes for just if you're moving to a new place. The same thing goes for all of those big events. Or if you've been praying for a baby after struggles of not being able to get pregnant, and you finally are pregnant, maybe in your first 3 months, you don't need to announce it or tell the entire world. Wait till 6 months, wait till 5, something, unless God releases you to say it. You always just want to be very, very careful with your news and very, very careful with your lifestyle, because not everybody is happy for you. Not everybody who smiles in your face wants the best for you. And there is about like 2 scriptures in Proverbs. I will place them on the side. I will put them on the screen. That does talk about talking too much as well. Now, disclaimer, sometimes if you do read it, it kind of goes towards a little bit more so for the context of when you are upset kind of thing, like or gossiping even too, but mainly more so when you're upset. When you read it, it could go more so for that context of like when you're mad, learn to shut your mouth, because sometimes you can say things that are either sinful or say things that are not nice. However, I feel like when you do read the scripture that I have placed on the screen, and I'll place them up again, it could go for too of just like talking way too much. You're more of a wise person for keeping your mouth shut and kind of keeping things to yourself than constantly chatter. So that was mainly just the point of my video. That's really all I wanted to talk about. There's a lot more examples in my life of things that I have kept pretty private, even things right now that I've kept pretty private until God moves in my life. There's certain visions that I've had, certain dreams that I've had that I keep pretty private, or I'll tell maybe 2 to 3 people. And I think that is a very valuable advice to Christians out there of just being careful of what God has shared with you, or messages that he shared with you, or news that he's released to you of things he's going to want to do in your life. Keeping that between you and God. Have that type of relationship, that best friend relationship where it's just you talking to you and God, keeping it between you and God, keeping that little promise until he comes through for you in your life. Okay? So that's all. That's just my little TED Talk, I guess. Something short, something sweet, okay? So, I hope you guys like and subscribe. Share the video if you would like to. And I will see you guys next week for another video. Okay, bye.